Okay, quick video showing Japanese cake BIOS running on Dreamcast version A1 using gdemu, USB gdrom and Dchdmi. So you might have noticed there the Sega screen was gone. The 6-second white screen with blue Sega that's at the start of every game. The Japanese cake BIOS will remove that. It'll also remove VGA limitation, so you'll no longer get the warning that this cable isn't suitable for this game. You also have better read and writes from your PC if you're doing CDIs or if you're doing any type of homebrew. You can construct the game differently and the BIOS will allow it to boot. So this is upscaled to 1080p internally using the DC HDMI board. And there's also a hidden menu that I'll bring up in a minute. I'll show you how to reset your Dreamcast from your joypad. Okay. So there's the DC HDMI secret menu, which is accessed by pressing both shoulder buttons, start button and X and A together. And inside you see your options. So you have your resolutions to set. You can see if I set 960p, you get a much wider screen, so it fills the whole TV, but it stretches, so your aspect ratio is wrong. So the 1080p seems to give a quite nice picture. Aspect ratio is correct. In your advanced video settings, you can have your de-interlators set. 240p adjust position is for when you play games in 240p. They may be slightly offset to center, you can adjust them. Upscaling mode is HQ2X, you can switch it off. If you want really sharp pixels, you just switch it off. RGB color space is full, which gives good rich colors. It suits me, it wouldn't suit everybody. Scan lines, you can have them on or off. I wouldn't be a huge fan of scan lines. So that's them on. You can just about see them there maybe on the camera. And that's them off. You can set the thickness, the odd even, etc., the intensity. Video mode settings, I just keep it on force VGA. You can do cable detect and switch trick for VGA, but with that Japanese cake BIOS, you don't actually need to do the switch trick for VGA because it no longer looks to see if the game is compatible. Firmware upgrade. It comes with a wireless setting, so you can tie into your system. You can check to see if you have the newest firmware, and if new firmware is available, it will automatically download, and you can flash it yourself using the on-screen menu. Test info. You'll use this at startup just to make sure all your solder connections to the motherboard are correct. The soldering difficulty would be from medium to advanced skill level. So you'll be soldering directly to the GPU chip and the onboard sound chips. Keep in mind it was made in 1999. The legs are quite a decent size, and the ribbon cable's been designed so well that it will actually solder reasonably easily if you have some soldering experience. If you don't have soldering experience, I'd highly recommend finding an installer to install it for you. They can be quite expensive. to get installed because of the time that's involved in installing them. So you see on the bottom it says X reset DC. So if I press X on the joypad right now, it will say, do you want a full reset or just a standard reset? So I'll do a standard reset, which is pressing the R button. So what it does, it resets and starts the BIOS again. And we should be able to go back into our gdemu automatically, our USB gdrom automatically, and display what's on the hard drive. So I have my games all listed in here, and I have them done through region. So I also have some converted to English games. Karous is one that's just been completed recently. So you just press A to select your game. So the Dchdmi is $150 and you could be waiting up to 8 weeks before it's delivered. Is it worth it? For me it is, but for others it might not be. It depends how picky you are, what you're looking at, because there's a lot of cheaper options. It costs $150. There's a lot of cheaper options there with just some DC VGA cables that people will be quite happy with if you're not obsessed with like getting the best picture from your Dreamcast. It'll be 480p and it'll still be very impressive. But the Dchdmi just goes that extra distance and it gives you more options with, filters and options to reset. So if you're like lazy and you don't want to go off the couch, turn off your Dreamcast every time you want to change the game, the reset is there for that. So as you can see, you'll see everything's in English here. So it's like a shmup, it's a basic shmup, just with the Japanese touch. Nice cel shaded graphics. But you notice the writing in the bottom left corner is all in English now. And again, we can reset the game. So if we reset Dreamcast and R, so I'll leave a link below where to get the BIOS chip. I did a complete BIOS chip replacement. It's fairly straightforward. Use a heat gun to remove your chip, solder in the new chip, and then there's 2 wires you need to solder. The link below will explain what you need to do. So you'll notice in this game it's got a Michael Jackson soundtrack. It was a hack that was done many years ago. But you can see how sharp the pixels are in the game. And they can be even sharper if we switch off the filter. Oh, and let's just to prove that it doesn't look anymore. If we get Case Cycle Circus, which is VGA game, so this will prove that it launches VGA games without any cable tricks or anything else. I haven't tested them all, but this one works. So this is GDI untouched. So you can see there was no issues booting, no warnings that we were using the wrong cable. Just make that a bit brighter. So you can see the game works fine. And that's our test circuit there. Just make sure everything's okay inside. But normally you'd only use that on the dashboard because you can get false results if you use it in the middle of a game. Those lines you might see streaming down the screen, are not on my screen. It's just the resolution of the camera. Anyway, that's Dreamcast with Japanese cake BIOS, USB gdrom, DC HDMI, all operating together and all working with each other. And thanks a lot for watching the video.